Hello everyone, welcome back to Behind the Pages with Maggie, breaking barriers one story at a time. Today is our 7th episode and I bring to you a very special story that is titled Listening with My Heart, a story of kindness and self-compassion. It is written by Gabby Garcia and illustrated by Ying Hui Tan. Now, I really wanted to use today's episode to reinstate and reinforce this importance of self-kindness and self-love, just as we did in our last episode on Sulwei. So today, our protagonist is another young girl called Esperanza who finds a heart-shaped rock. And when she finds it, she sees it as a reminder to spread kindness and love in the world, which is very important. But when her school play doesn't go the way she'd imagined, will she really remember to give it to herself, to give the self-love and to give the kindness back to herself? Now, the reason why I believe it is so important is because, well, in today's quite extremely competitive world, I think children and, to be honest, most adults also often internalize this message that their worth is attached to their accomplishments and that messing up or failing, what other people perceive as failing, is something to be ashamed of rather than, to be honest, a very normal part of life. This can really lead to critical self-talk, which is not beneficial at all to our mental well-being. And listening with my heart reminds us of the other golden rule, which is to treat ourselves like we would treat a friend. And when we do this, we are practicing self-compassion, which is imperative and so important in our just everyday life, I think. So, without further ado, I bring you this beautifully illustrated book that touches on the universal themes of kindness, empathy, and self-compassion. Esperanza's tummy fluttered as she practiced her lines on the porch. Today was the class play. Waiting for Mama to walk her to school, she paced back and forth when she spotted a heart-shaped rock. Esperanza picked it up and showed it to Mama as soon as she stepped outside. "I see you found a little treasure," said Mama. Esperanza rubbed its rough surface and felt a twinkle of joy. "Maybe it's a sign." "For what?" asked Mama. She thought about the class play later that afternoon, wondering what it would finally be like in the spotlight. "To put my heart into everything I do," she answered. At that moment, they heard scratching and a soft cry. Esperanza peeked under the stairs and spotted a kitty, shaking and shivering. No Mama in sight. She scooped the kitten onto her lap and cuddled her. "She's all alone. I think she's hungry." Esperanza reached for her lunch bag, pinched off a piece of chicken, and offered it to the kitty, who gobbled it up. "Mama, I think the rock is a reminder to spread kindness in the world. That's what we do when we listen with our hearts." "I think you're onto something," said Mama. "Can we keep Cleopatra, please?" asked Esperanza, who had named the kitty. "Queens are always welcome at our home," said Mama. "If she's here after school, we'll take her in." At school, Esperanza was more focused on the play than on math or reading. Clutching her script during recess, she noticed Bao sitting alone on a bench. He was new in school this week and didn't speak much English. She wondered if he felt lonely or scared. Esperanza found a soccer ball and kicked it over to him. And a smile spread across Bao's face. He stood, popped the ball in the air, then bounced between his knees and his head a few times. Dude's got some moves, thought Esperanza. They spent recess giggling and making up hand signals. And afterwards, Esperanza borrowed Miss Owen's English-Vietnamese dictionary. She wrote friend in Vietnamese, drew a picture of Bao and her, and then put it on his desk. Esperanza rubbed the rock in her pocket. Listening with her heart made her feel peaceful inside. And finally, it was time for the performance. It was too late for Bao to be in the play, but he stood at Miss Owen's side as a stagehand. Excitement bubbled as Esperanza awaited her cue. Esperanza walked on stage, but tripped as she was about to say her first line and splattered across the stage. And when she got up, she forgot her lines, so Miss Owens whispered them to her from backstage. Heat rushed through Esperanza's body as all her eyes were glued to her. She wished she could disappear. I ruined the play, thought Esperanza, rushing off stage as soon as she'd finished her part. I'm such a dummy for forgetting my lines. I messed up in front of everyone. She tucked herself in behind some props so no one would see her. Esperanza noticed her body shaking and her face still burning. She took a deep breath and dug the rock out of her pocket. It was cracked and lopsided, just how she felt. Esperanza touched her hand to her heart and felt the disappointment. Bao found Esperanza a few minutes later and handed her a drawing with the word friend written above it. Esperanza nodded. She hadn't been treating herself like a friend. Esperanza realized this wasn't the first time she'd been unkind to herself. At the soccer game last weekend, she'd missed the ball that swooshed by her head and they'd lost the game. Nice work, a player from the other team yelled as the others laughed. Esperanza thought she'd let her team down and was the worst soccer player in the world. Thinking those thoughts had made her feel worse. At the curtain call, Esperanza reminded herself she hadn't ruined the play. She had an accident, and accidents happen to everyone. Listening with her heart wasn't just about giving kindness and love to others. It was about giving it to herself too. I can be a friend to myself, thought Esperanza. And when Esperanza got home, she focused on her favorite things. She zipped down the hill on her bike, then spent the afternoon painting at the kitchen table. She also got the hug she needed from Mama and some cuddles from Cleopatra. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed the story and that you've learned how important it is to be your own friend too, and be kind to yourself and not be so hard on yourself when you mess up, because things like that happen in life and we just have to embrace them and welcome them as a normal part of life. We shouldn't beat ourselves up for it and feel miserable for the rest of the day just because something hadn't gone our way. We should remember to always be kind to ourselves. And I think this book is phenomenal in the way that by the end of the story or after the end of the story, they actually included some very wonderful mindfulness activities that will help you remember to be kind to yourself. So I would really like to just read a little bit of that out, and hopefully you will be able to practice some of it when you are feeling overwhelmed. The first activity is titled Listening with Your Heart. Some days stink. Not everything will go the way you want. You'll get upset. But when this happens, you can pause, take a few deep breaths, and practice listening with your heart. You can try to name what you are feeling, and whatever you feel is okay. You can listen to your body and notice the sensations you are having. And you can also pay attention to your self-talk. Are the words supportive and understanding, or mean or rude? Are you being a friend to yourself? And when we treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we'd give to someone we care for, we are practicing self-compassion. It is so important to be your own friend, and wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a gentle hug. Take a few deep breaths and close your eyes if you'd like. And you can say these words to yourself. When I feel sadness, may I treat myself like the friend I need, and may I show love and kindness to myself. When I feel anger, may I treat myself like the friend I need. May I show love and kindness to myself. So whatever you feel, may you treat yourself like the friend you need. And remember to show love and kindness to yourself. Always, always. Well, thank you so much for joining me for episode 7 of Behind the Pages with Maggie, breaking barriers one story at a time. I hope you enjoy the story today, and I can't wait to see you again in our next episode. Goodbye for now.